Hey guys, how's it going? So I wanted to do a dream journal vlog for you. I haven't done one of these in a while. So I went to take a nap today and I was in my room and I closed the door to my room, but like as I was laying down to fall asleep, like I was between that wakefulness and dream state, I heard my door close again. And I was like, wait a second, and it jumped and it had me like waking up, and I thought, wait a second, the door was already closed. Why did it close again? And usually it will do that like when someone comes home and opens a door, and it will make that like suction and it will kind of like close the door. And but I didn't know if I actually heard that, because you know when like you're in between wakefulness and dreams, how like you'll hear sounds that like make you jump awake, and you're not sure if that is really the sound that you heard or if it was just like all in your mind. Maybe I'm the only one that this happens to, but I'll hear like banging sounds or like a pop, a crack, a boom, and I'll like jump awake, you know, and I'll go, what was that? And then it was nothing. It was just all in my head. So I hear my door close and I wake up and I thought, oh, what was that? And I know no one's home, you know, and I vividly remember locking the door when I got home from dropping off the kids. You know, sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't, but I like remember actually locking the door. So I ended up finally falling back asleep, and I had this weird dream that my family and I were living in this rental, and it was this older rental. It was kind of like a home from the 70s. It had that like old-timey kind of feel to it. But had been like renovated a little bit, but still very much like dated. So in my dream, you walk down the hall and the first door to your left is my boy's room. And then the next door to your left is my daughter's room. And then the last door on your left is was a guest bedroom. And I was in my boy's room and I noticed the carpet was wet. And then I look up and I notice that there's like water dripping from up in the attic. So I go up in the attic and I look and I see like standing water up in the attic. And I'm renting this house. So I go and call the property management, and I finally get someone on the phone. It was like, that was another thing too. Like it was almost impossible to get someone on the phone. And I finally reached a lady who was like completely hijacked the conversation, because I was going to tell her, hey, I need someone to come and fix this leak that's going on in my house. And she goes, hey, did you know that if you do this and this and this, that you can get your rent cheaper? And of course I like instantly was like, I can? What can I do to have that happen? That's so cool. You know, I won the lottery. Awesome. I'm going to have my rent be half the cost that it usually is. And I'm always looking to like save a buck here and there. So of course I was totally excited to hear this. And at the moment forgetting about the fact that I have water dripping from ceiling to floor in my son's room. So then she pulls out my file, and then suddenly I hear her go, oh, you don't qualify. And I was like, what? Why are you talking about all this stuff to me? Like getting my hopes all up, and then you tell me I don't qualify. She then was asking me, what are your thoughts on this house? And I said, I love this house. And then I got like super emotional, because I was like, I love this house. I love this area that we live in. I love the schools that my kids are in. I feel like it was the house that I'm living at now, like in the same location, but just a different house. So I feel like it's the same location, but a different house. I just said that. So I, got all emotional, and I was like, this is like the best place ever. I love it here. So then I finally asked her, hey, can I get someone out here to fix the leaking, the water that's leaking everywhere? And she goes, okay, well, hold on one second. And then she goes and talks to the boss man, who was an absolute jerk. And I overhear him saying, yeah, we'll get to it, but just tell them not to take as long of showers. And putting it on us. Like, you're taking too long of showers and that's why your water is leaking. And And I remember listening to that going, what in the heck is he talking about? And then the lady was like, well, the boss guy, or the guy in charge of this property management, and I guess a few of the other top dogs in this management, in this property management, are all going to go to the festival, like some big festival here in Texas, which there is never like this big of a festival. I felt like it was like Mardi Gras, but like for Texas, and it was several days long. And in my dream, it was a Tuesday. I don't know why, but it was a Tuesday. Today is Wednesday, but they were talking about how they're going to be at this festival all week, and how kind of like, well, we'll get to it, you know, eventually, but just don't take as long of showers, because that's really what's making the leak in your house worse. So I end up getting off the phone with her, and then during this time, I like walk out of the bedrooms. I go to the kitchen, and I see a college-aged girl making herself a sandwich. And it's funny because I walk in and I kind of like stop and I stare at her, and at the same time she kind of looks up at me like, what's going on? But in that like split second of a moment that I'm looking at her and she's looking at me, I instantly thought in my head, oh yeah, I've got a college-age daughter. How could I have forgotten about her? But this daughter was like making herself a sandwich, and I said, hey, so it's you that came home, and that's what made the sound of my door closing. And she was like, she was looking at me like, okay, yeah, I'm home, making a sandwich. Now, we live right by a college, and so that would make sense why she's probably just coming home and making herself something, you know, because she lives there. So I just thought that was odd that there was this older daughter that I had no realization of until I saw her in the kitchen. And then I decided to go into my daughter's room, and then found that there was more water falling from the ceiling to the floor. And it was like along the wall that the guest bedroom shared. So I go in the guest bedroom and I see that there's water as well falling down. And not only that, the drywall was like squishy. And there was a hole up at the top of the drywall, and I peered in, and it was like just water in between the walls. And that instantly made me mad. I go and I try to call the property management again, and am not getting anyone on the phone. I finally got someone on the phone, and they were like, just go get your own plumber then. Like, go get your own plumber, you go do it. Like, we're not gonna do this. And I was not happy with that. And that was like orders from the top dog that I should just get my own plumber if I can't wait. And oh, this person also said, we'll get to you at the end of the week after this festival or whatever. And, you know, just get your own plumber if it's a problem, if it's enough of a problem that you need to, you know, have it fixed right now. And that, I was not happy with that. So I kept calling, trying to get in touch with this boss guy. And finally got in touch with him, and he was like all irritated, and he tried to put it like back on me. You're just taking too long of showers. Why showers? I don't know. But he's like, you're taking too long of showers, and that is what is causing this this leak. Which, how in the heck is taking too long of showers making water run from the attic down? Like, I don't get it. But you know, these are dreams, and do we ever understand exactly why dreams are set up the way they're set up? No, not really. So he turns it on me, and he's just like, what was it he said? He goes, look, I've got this going on, I've got this going on. Oh, and they were doing these like inspections or something, like, and so like all their crew was busy doing inspections on all their properties or something like that. And he goes, and I've got all these inspections going on that come first before your needs. So he was coming up with all these excuses, and he's like, I've got this, I've got that. And I finally said, no, you're just mean. And he was not happy with that one. And I just kept telling it to him over and over again. I said, you're mean. That's what you are. You are just mean. My house is leaking, and you're doing nothing about it. You're putting me on the back burner so that you can go to this silly festival. You won't pull any of your guys from these stupid inspections to come help me with this plumbing, because I don't know what to do with plumbing. You know, and then I thought, well, maybe I will just call a plumber, and I'll just charge the property management. And then I was talking to my husband in this dream, and I told him that I pretty much called this guy mean over and over again. And my husband was like, great. Now we're gonna like get kicked out of the house because now we ticked off this guy and he's gonna do what he can to get us out of the house. So there was once a time where I would have all these weird dreams, and I kept checking online like what the interpretation was to these dreams, and this was years ago. And so I have kind of an interpretation as to what my dream meant. And I could be wrong, because I would have these dreams back years ago, and then I would check like one website to help me interpret it, and then I would go on another website and it would tell me like a different interpretation. And so I felt like I was just going on tons of different websites until I found the interpretation that I wanted to hear. So in dreams, when you dream about your house, that is you. And so I was thinking about that while I was getting ready for the day, and I was like, so if that house is me, that's like I don't know if I like that to be like the representation of as to who I am. It was this kind of dated house. It was a very lived in house, and therefore a very loved house. At least I would like to think that it was a very loved house, but it did have its flaws and its imperfections. Now, when I view myself, I try to be very real with who I am. I don't try to put on any show that I am something I'm not, because I don't like living a lie. I think when I understand that we try to put our best foot forward, and we try to be confident, and we try to be a good person. I understand that, but I don't want to come across as anything I'm not, and I don't want to try to act like I'm something that I'm not. So it could be that the house looked the way it did, very honest and very like, this needs work, and that needs work, and that needs work, because I know within me where I need work. And the other major part of this dream is water. And water is about emotions. I think like if it's like a whole body of water, like an ocean, that's something different. It's like something about yourself, or like I think it's almost like the equivalent to a house. I'm not totally sure. But when there's water, that symbolizes your emotions. So the house is a representation of me, the water is a representation of my emotions, and I thought it was quite an accurate representation then in that regard. You know, of course we all go through seasons where our emotions seem to get the better of us, or where we feel like we're buried in our emotions. And in this case, I felt like the water was invading my peace. Not only that, it was frustrating to deal with. And on top of that, no one was willing to help. And people were putting the need that I had aside. And I thought about that, and I thought, you know, that it kind of makes sense. You know, I feel like at this time, I feel like, you know, it's interesting, because I don't feel like this time is any special than any other times, but I do feel like it's an accurate representation of this time. And I feel like I do have emotions that I'm going through, and thoughts and feelings that I'm going through, and I get frustrated when I feel stuck. And I feel like what I ultimately want is to be on the path that God wants me to be. And so I constantly am thinking, what, Lord, would thou have me do? What is my soul's mission? What should I do here on out? You know, like, what should my next step be? Or when I feel like, when I come to a crossroad, you know, where should I go? And so sometimes I feel like I am running faster than other people. I tend to forget that I might need to slow down. But my nature is such that that's what I do, is I just run forward, and I don't like being stagnant, and I don't like being in one place, like emotionally, spiritually, for very long. It's funny, I was talking to my friend, Mother's Day happened, and I was talking to her, and she was having a really hard day on Mother's Day, and I didn't want to go into it, because you could kind of tell she didn't want to go into it. I saw her then 2 or 3 weeks later, and she was talking about something, and I just said, I hope you're okay. Are you doing okay? And she goes, yeah. And then she kind of gave me a little bit of a summary as to what was happening. And she goes, it was just a bad week, you know, in many ways. And she goes, and now this week is another crisis. And I thought, and I joked, I laughed with her and I said, you know, I feel like every day is a crisis. Like for me, like every day is a different crisis. And she goes, oh, well, then you must just get over them faster. Oh, maybe that's so. She goes, it takes like a week for me to like process and to like break down things and figure things out and let them go. For me, I don't like anything holding me down longer than like a day tops. When something's been holding me down for a couple days, I am mad because I allowed it to hold me down. Like I don't like anything holding me down for more than a day. I just don't like that. And so I like to stay happy and even keel as often as I can. And I do understand that life happens and things bring us down or frustrate us or make us angry or whatever. But so that made sense, you know, the water part and how, you know, I feel like I get hit with emotions and feeling inadequate in myself and how I feel like I can't please everyone. I feel like people want answers from me that I can't give. And it's not that I can't give, I can try to give answers that people want, but that won't always be the truth. Or I feel like the answers won't be what they want to hear, or the answers will be something they don't understand. And so I feel like I've been kind of bombarded with that. And I don't know exactly what it meant, the property manager who kept avoiding the phones and putting me off and putting me aside. I don't exactly know like what that means. It could be that sometimes I rely on God and sometimes I might rely on him a little too much. And sometimes I feel like he's like, hold up, wait a second, and I'll get to you. Like not like he's ignoring me, but maybe he's teaching me patience. Maybe that's what it is. And so I get frustrated because I'm like, where's the help? Where's my help when the help is coming? But the fact that I just called the property manager mean, you know, so I'm not too sure on that one. It could just be that I will find a person that I'm relying upon and will find that they aren't fulfilling the need that I need from them, you know, and that's something I'm finding on my spiritual journey, on my journey to personal growth is that my path is my own and it's not going to be the same as anyone else's. And so I am flawed in the fact that I will turn to others and have expectations of them that I shouldn't have because they're not on the same page as I am. And so I expect things from them and then I find myself disappointed because why did they not meet that expectation when they were never to meet that expectation? I wasn't to find it in a person. I was to find it in myself and from God or the universe, the higher self, whatever it is your higher being is that you turn to. Now, the one thing that like baffles me, that I like seriously have no clue, is this college age daughter that I found in my dream. And I sat there and thought, okay, well maybe I have some old, now I understand like babies and children in dreams to be either like actual babies or children or to be like projects or like new life, new birth, like that's how I understand it. So I'm sitting here thinking, if I have an 18 to 20-year-old daughter, maybe that means I started a project or I started something new and I have since forgotten it and maybe I need to go back to it. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. So these are all the things that I've thought of. And I thought I would share them with you. And this way too, you can kind of know like what's going on in my mind, in my mind space. You know, I walked away from it feeling like very much like I'm aware of who I am. And I'm aware of where I'm at in life, in this part of my life. Although I felt like the house did look like it needed a little bit of work. I thought it was a pretty good dream and a pretty interesting one. This was probably the first time I have had like a real dream that I was able to interpret. So I thought I would share it with you guys, especially since I haven't done it in a while. I haven't shared with you guys my dream journals. Hello, people. If I have any more of these, I'll let you guys know. I will catch you guys later, and thanks for listening. Bye.